welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So today is BookList Thursday, and BookList Thursday is something I do with Sarah over at Sarah's Nightstand. We come to you every Thursday with some sort of book thoughts, ideas, recommendations, something bookish related. So today is our next round of 5-star predictions. So we do this every other month. We pick three books that we think are going to be 5 stars, and we sometimes put some sort of theme or spin around with it, and we always invite another booktuber to partake in the funness of 5-star predictions. So this month we're teaming up with Laurie. She's over at Books, Ink, and Paper. I always want to say Books, Paper, and Ink, so to make sure I got that right. But Laurie is a hoot. Her and I have really similar reading tastes. Like, we tend to love the same books. I mean, she's just amazing. But you should definitely go check her out. If you followed her before, she is back. She had a bit of a hiatus, but no big deal. She's back. She's talking books. It's fantastic. Absolutely love her. So for this round of 5-star predictions, we decided to focus in on books that we have been hearing about or have been recommended to people through podcasts. So I really only listen to a very small handful of podcasts because normally when I'm listening to a book. The one podcast I probably listen to the most is Morbid, and there's really no book recommendations there because it really just follows murder. It's a really great one if you want to check it out. But the other one I listen to very regularly is the Currently Reading podcast. So that one is where Meredith and Katie team up and come to us. I believe it's weekly. I'm way behind on it. They come to us weekly with some really, I mean, they just talk bookish talk, and they have books that they want to press into people's hands, which I took. One of my books is from one of their very first episodes. And then the other book, I don't know what episode, but I can't find it, but I'm fairly 90-something% certain I heard about it on that, or I've heard them talking about it on that podcast. So don't come for me if I might be wrong. And then this other book that I went to the podcast, What Should I Read Next by Anne Bogle. I listened to that a lot a few years ago. I was like religiously listening to it, and then, I don't know, life happened and I kind of fell off of the What Should I Read Next train, but recently have hopped back on it and I've got a book picked that was one of Anne's favorite, I think, of last year. Yeah, the best books that she read last year. So let's just get started. So the ones I want to talk about from the Currently Reading podcast, this is from their very first episode. This is a book that they wanted to press into people's hands. And when they talk about that, this is the book that they're like literally going around and saying everybody needs to read this. This has been on my shelves for a while. I moved it to this house, so we know it's at least 3 years old. So we have Castle of Water by Dane Huckelbridge. So this one says 2 very different people, one very small island. We have Sophia. Her honeymoon in the French Polynesia was intended as a celebration of life. The proud owner of a thriving architecture firm, which she confounded with her brilliant new husband, Sophia has much to look forward to, including a visit to the island home of her favorite singer, Jacques Brel. And for Barry, the same trip was meant to mark a new beginning. Turning away from his dreary existence in Manhattan finance, Barry has set his sights on fine art, seeking creative inspiration on the other side of the world, just like his idol, Paul. But when their small plane is downed in the middle of the South Pacific, the sole survivors of the wreck are left with one common goal, and just to survive. So it just gives me like On the Island vibes by Tracy Garvis Graves. I'm interested, and I've heard it's really, really good. So that's recommendation number 1 from Currently Reading. The next one I have is I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys. I'm so far behind on reading her books, and I can remember listening about this book as I'm on a walk with the dog, which is where I usually listen to podcasts. So I'm positive this came from a podcast somewhere. So picking this one up, and this one takes place in Romania, 1989. I don't know. Communism regimes are crumbling across Europe. We have 17-year-old Christian dreams of becoming a writer, but Romanians aren't free to dream. They're bound by rules and force. So I'm sure it follows his survival. I've read every other book Ruta Sepetys has written except for this one, so I need to catch up on her work because I love her. And then the last one I have, this is the one that was on Anne Bogle's best books list that she just came out with. It wasn't that long ago, beginning of the year maybe, from the Currently Reading podcast. So this is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Jarmus. I know I haven't read it. I feel like I'm the last one that has not read this book, but I have heard nothing but amazing things about it. So we have our chemist, Elizabeth, is not your average woman. In fact, she would be the first to point out that there's no such thing as an average woman, but it's early 1960s and our all-male team at the Hastings Research Institute takes a very unscientific view of equality. Except for one, Kelvin, the lonely, brilliant Nobel Prize nominated grudge holder who falls in love with, of all things, her mind and true chemistry results. So I think I have a pretty wide variety of books for this turnaround, but we'll see how it goes. So would she still be considered YA? Probably. Historical. This one gives me thriller-ish vibes. This one gives me a little romance vibes. It's a good combo. So we're gonna get through this. We will come back to you then. At the end of April. I'm like losing track of time. I can't believe it. At the end of April, and we'll let you know what we think about the 3 books that we picked for our 5-star predictions. Head over to Sarah's channel and Laurie's channel and see what they have picked for the 5-star predictions today. I'm just excited. And I need more podcast recommendations for readers because it was slim pickings for me, which is fine. Anyways, I'll put links to everything below. Check it all out. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.